All right. Once again, thank you for joining, and today we will discuss the the film Rosetta, and more specifically the educational kit related to this film that we've developed with some of our focus group teachers, and we will make both the film and the educational kit available on the European Film Factory platform. The kit is pretty much designed to guide teachers and students who are interested in the topic to use this as a film education activity in their classroom setting. So today, I will start with a brief overview of the project, the European Film Factory project, the platform, and then three of our focus group teachers, namely Anna Maria from Romania, Andreas from Greece, and Emma from Italy, will be presenting the film Rosetta as well as the kit that I just mentioned, with a special focus on the social cinema aspect of this film. If you have any questions, you can always write to us in chat and the Q&A function of the meeting, and we will try to address them as best as we can. First, after this first section where I talk about the project and the platform, and then also at the end of the presentations. Next slide, please. So the platform, the European Film Factory project and the platform, it came into existence in 2019 as a 3-year project through co-funding by the Creative Europe Media Program of the European Union, and with collaboration of three project partners. So as you can see on the slides, Institut Français, Arte Education, and European SchoolNet. So the project later on was renewed for a second phase, and we are currently working on the second phase of this project. In the first version of the project, it started with 8 languages that you can see on the left side of the screen, and we added Croatian to it now in the second iteration of this project. And once again, the project is available in the European Film Factory.eu website, and all the movies are available there. In the first iteration of the project, we added 12 feature films and 2 short film programs, which are freely available to use and review and do the activities in all the Creative Europe countries. So for each of these movies I mentioned, we added educational kits, as we will be looking into the one for Rosetta today. And there's also some innovative tools that we will later on touch upon a little bit more detail. So in this iteration of the project, we are adding more movies to the platform. So right now we've already added 5 more, making the total to 19. And there will be 5 more added in the coming months. With this project and the platform, we are targeting, we started with targeting teachers and students of secondary schools. But now we are also focusing more on higher education students, so young people between 18 to 25-year-old, and also some other organizations or cultural mediators such as libraries, festivals, associations, and cinemas, and so on. Moving on, I will also briefly mention, highlight the 2 distinct innovative tools that we have on the platform. So one of these will be the personalized extracts. This is so a user can create a piece of the cut piece of the movie, create an excerpt with personal annotations in the form of text, images, even sound, audio, to to use in their classroom activities. Another tool that we provide in this platform is mind maps. Um, this particular tool allows the user to combine the content from the platform, so the movies and everything else on the platform, with other sources on the EFF platform, as well as external resources. So other websites, it can be videos from other sources like YouTube. It can be documents that's relevant that you find online. So it's to create, as the name suggests, a mind map that will guide your students in the training activities that you do in your classrooms. So as mentioned, these tools are aimed at aiding or enhancing the film education practices in your classroom. And as such, both teachers such as yourselves, also students, can use and create these extracts or these mind maps and video clippings, and share them either publicly with all the other users of the EFF platform, or just within their classroom, with their friends or with their students in your case. So and of course, in addition to the innovative tools I just mentioned, we also have the platform offers comprehensive pedagogical kits to explore and gain better understanding of existing films, master classes, the webinars such as this one, media kits, and various other resources as well. So we highly recommend going to the platform if you haven't already, and checking out all these amazing resources and the films, and start perhaps even using in your classrooms. I just want to, before I pass it on to my colleagues on the call for their presentations on Rosetta, I just also want to mention that in the first iteration of the project, we already achieved we reached approximately 12,000, over 12,000 users, the movies that we put on the platform were reviewed more than 16,000 times, and we reached in total 220,000 students across Europe. So it's been a very successful project so far, and the numbers are only growing. And I believe it's a very good tool to bring into your classroom and your educational activities. So with that note, I would like to open the discussion for questions, more specifically on the platform or the project. And also, just a quick note related to this. The next set of webinars, the next two webinars we will have, will be focusing more on the project and the platform itself. And these will take early April. So keep an eye on the EFF communication channels. And just as this one, you will find more information soon in these channels to be able to join these upcoming webinars. Both webinars will be on the platform, but one will be in English and the other one will be on our latest language, Croatian. So yeah, and I am now looking at the chats to see if there are any questions. So far, I don't see any, but please, if you have any questions, just let us know on the chat and I will be happy to answer. I guess no questions so far, which is great. I hope everything is clear. And then we can get started with our with the main part of our webinar today. So Rosetta and the Rosetta Educational Kit. All right, I will pass it on to my colleagues now. Anna Maria first, I guess.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
So, hi, my name is Ana Maria Giban, and I work together with Andreas and Emma in the EFF focus group. And I'm very glad to hold this first webinar from that second part of the project. So tonight we will talk about Rosetta, which is a powerful film, which for sure deserves a special attention, as it is probably one of the most challenging movies to see on the EFF platform. Of course, each movie has its beauty, and I am sure you will find something interesting in each of it, and a lot of activities to do with your students. But today we talk only about Rosetta. So the movie is directed by Jean-Pierre and Luc Dardenne, known as Dardenne brothers. They are two Belgian directors who write, shoot, and produce films together. One of them studied philosophy and the other drama, and this is a detail that you would consider maybe important at one point in some of the activities. They started in 1970 when they began making documentaries which focused on the memory of the World War II. They focused especially on the workers' social movement in their region, which is the province of Liège. In fact, the atmosphere of their documentaries and later their fictional films is inspired by Serang, which is an industrial town in this region, the town where Dardenne brothers grew up. They started to create fictional works too in 1980s, showing their interest especially for social issues. The films of Dardenne brothers portray the individual crisis of society's outcasts, the unemployed or immigrants, all struggling against economic oppression. The recognition of their films came later in 1990, and after that, each of their films has been critically acclaimed and internationally praised. Basically, the recognition started with La Promesse, a film released in 1996. And after that followed Rosetta, which was released in 1999. And it seems, one of the most appreciated of their films. The film won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival in 1999. And it is a movie about the struggles of a young girl who fights against the difficulties she faces in her everyday life. Rosetta is a teenager, but she's not a teenager like the others. Means that at the age of 18, she is a factory worker. She lives in a van with her alcoholic mother. And the day she gets fired, she becomes obsessed with finding a new job and escaping from her world. She's ready to sacrifice everything to avoid this having the same life as her mother's. And in her journey in searching for the identity, because the film is also about searching the identity of the main character, Rosetta meets some people who seems to care about her, but she's always caught between her quest for dignity and her moral conflicts. The analysis of the film should be related mostly to the context of its creation, meaning that we should have in mind that the Dardenne brothers cinema is part of a long tradition of realistic art and literature, a tradition that began in the 19th century, and which is mainly focused on the realistic representation, on the objective representation of social and political reality. Dardenne brothers, as former documentary filmmakers, prefers the raw footage and prefers to reveal the reality as it is, or to create to the viewer the sensation that they are in the middle of real action. In cinema, this heritage refers to some movements of the second half of the 20th century, such as Italian neorealism or cinéma vérité, if we refer to the French cinema. And some critics talk even about Northern identity in cinema, meaning that later in 1990s, a number of Northern European directors started depicting the struggles of the working class relating to unemployment. So Dardenne brothers were influenced by all those movements, or maybe not influenced, but inspired by those movements in cinema. But it is important to not define their films only through its realistic aspects, as it is obvious that Dardenne brothers strive to represent not only the reality and the social issues, but also the inner life of the characters. To have a complete understanding of the film, we should also take into account the historical context in which the action of the film takes place. I already said that most of the films of Dardenne brothers are inspired by their town, Serang, which is a little town in the province of Liège. The film Rosetta was also shot here. And it seems that region is one of those areas that were dramatically affected by the closure of some industrial institutions, of some fabrics. Basically, the problem of unemployment rose here dramatically. As we see some statistics, we can see that in Belgium, this was a real problem, and not only in Belgium, but in many countries around Europe. So Rosetta emerges as an allegorical character who represents basically the young, hopeless Belgian generation. And it seems the film has had and still has a huge impact on public opinion. And as a sign of this impact, the press renamed even a plan of the Belgian government related to the boost of youth employment. The press renamed this plan Rosetta Plan, so like as a metaphor. Starting from those informations, which you will find all in a more developed way in the educational kit on the platform, you can create, as Erai says before, a lot of activities for your students or together with your students. Erai told you already about excerpts and mind maps. And just to have an idea about what a mind map could look like, I invite you to search on the platform the film, and below the film and below in the bottom of the page, you will find a mind map, which is already made. A mind map, as you can see on the slide, I put a screenshot of that mind map, which is about the struggles of the main character, Rosetta. Basically, this mind map is made by a small collection of relevant scenes that depicts the relationships of Rosetta with the others, the conflicts she has with the others, but also her inner conflicts. I will share a bit myself the mind map. Okay, thank you, Andreas. Let's see if I can. I hope you can see it. I cannot see you anymore, so a yes could be useful.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, we can see it, Anuri.
So as we move down, we can see basically in the center is Rosetta, and if you click here, I will not click, but if you click, you will go directly to the movie. You can see the movie, the entire film, and the other circles contain basically some pieces from the film, some excerpts, which are relevant for different aspects of Rosetta's struggles. I will not let you to see now the final scene, which is very powerful, because you should see the movie and get to that scene. But I will try to click on the on the other scene, which is a fragment where we can see the relationship between Rosetta and her mother. I think now you should see that part. I hope you can see him here.
C'est quoi ça?
C'est pas moi. De toute façon, j'aime pas le martini.
Comment le bouchon est arrivé là?
J'en sais rien.
Et puis la bière. T'apportes à boire, comme ça, en échange, il peut te baiser, c'est ça?
C'est pas vrai. Je suis ta mère, t'as pas à me parler comme ça.
Jure-le que c'est pas vrai. Jure-le que c'est pas vrai. Ça, c'est ma Bastille.
Fous-moi la paix.
Elle va faire ta cure. Où t'as eu ça? Où t'as eu ça?
On me l'a donné.
Lui?
Les gens chez qui j'allais chercher les vêtements.
T'as mendié.
On me l'a donné.
Pourquoi t'as pas refusé?
Je ne refuse pas les vêtements.
Les vêtements, c'est pas pareil. Tu les répares et moi, je les vends. Jette ça. On n'est pas des mendiants.
So I think that was all the scene, and the others are a bit longer or a bit shorter, and they illustrate the same topic, the struggles of the main character. I think you can share again, Andreas. Okay, I will let now my colleagues to present some activities from the kit?
Yes, thank you, Anna Maria. Yes, some activities that were elaborated for this kit. It's important to say that each activity is divided according to the age of the students that can be work on it. And there is also the indication of the level of difficulty of the activity. So the teacher know if the activity is okay or not, if is right for their classes or not. In my case, I would like also to underline how those activities can be used for CLIL. I'm a content and language integrated learning, and in Italy there are lots of teachers that teach in CLIL approach because it's mandatory. I think also in other countries in Europe. And the use of this platform makes very easy to prepare some lessons that can be related to the subjects. In this case, for example, civic education, because it's a social movie. So all the topics that are faced in this movie can be easily adapted to civic education syllabus for Italy. And I hope that it will be very soon available also for Italian teachers. The first activity is a warm-up activity. You know, it's a sort of a icebreaker. It's a way to introduce the movie to the students. And there is a quote, a sentence by Dardenne brothers, you can see in the bubble. We like our characters to tell who they are, what they do, what they want through props, gestures that involve objects to which we attach great importance. In this case, you can see the use, the practical use of the cutting extract tool, the one that Erai was talking before. We have the mind map, but we have also this other tool that is very useful to personalize some extracts from the movie. The teacher or the students chooses, select the extracts on which they want to work on. And in this case, they were selected some objects, some items that have a particular and symbolic value for Rosetta. And this is a good way to start to ignite the interest and the curiosity of students towards the movie. I don't want to spoil the movie, but for example, you understand that the life of this girl is very hard, as Anna Maria told, and the presence of boots in this case are the things she uses to go to fish, because she has to catch the fishes to eat. So it's a sort of primitive life, the life that this young girl has to conduct in a very poor city in Belgium. So thank you, Andrea. We can go on. In this way, students are also able to make predictions and to anticipate what they will see, and so their interest is sparkled. The second activity is on film techniques, and Andrea will talk later in a deeper way about film techniques, because it's important to say that this platform proposes some films that are content rich, but also is also a way to reflect on the strategies and techniques that are used in cinema, the expression and the strategies that the directors use to make their movies more impactful. In this case, the proposed activity that you can find in the kit, again, there is the use of extract tool, the personalized extract tool. There are some close-up shots. It's a way to make students think about, reflect on the choice of the director of close-up shots, because there is a message behind this choice. Of course, there is a particular message that the directors want to convey. In this case, the emotions of the main character, Rosetta, are directly linked to the extracts, to the close-up shots. And so we asked the students to detect, to investigate the emotions that these shots communicate to the audience. Yes, this is the last slide I want to talk about. It's beautiful also to stimulate the fantasy and the imagination of our students. I mean, a movie, it's like a sort of open door to other movies, to other stories. The stories are like a sort of Russian dolls mechanism in which you can find stories that introduce other stories. So asking our students to be creative and to imagine another end, or because the end in this movie, I don't want to spoiler, of course, but it's a sort of open end. So we can ask the students to think about an additional final scene for a scenario for this movie. And this is another activity that usually students really appreciate, because they are free to use their imagination and to be a sort of director of the movie, going on with the story. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Andrea.
Okay. Before Andrea presents the other two activities, I will do also some remarks about the expressive means of the film. In the kit, you can find some notes about the expressive means, which could help you a lot, you and your students, for a better understanding of the movie. You can see on the slide some short notes related to some of the main aspects, which are taken into consideration when we talk about the expressive means of a film. For example, if we talk about the way in which the film is directed, we could say this film is basically situated halfway between fiction and documentary. We already talked about the fact that Dardenne brothers started as documentary directors. The mise-en-scène is in the same time simple and complex, and by that, basically the directors shows that the life itself could be as simple it is, but complex. Also, the characters are showed as they are, in a realistic way, free of stereotypes, and that's why maybe they have such a strong narrative charge. If we refer to the screenplay and plot, for example, the main observation is that Rosetta lives in a routine world, and this is for sure a challenge for a director, because this kind of approach, it's difficult some way to be represented in the film, so that the film does not tire. The technique that Dardenne brothers use is that the camera simply shows what Rosetta sees and feels with back and forth long shots. Sometimes they use unexpected close-up or jump cuts, and this way of filming allows the viewer to identify himself with the routine in which the main character lives, and also to better identify with the whole story. Basically, what we have in this movie is unstructured script, which is often very open. It has even an open ending. As for the editing, the most striking probably is the way in which Dardenne brothers use the camera. As the camera, it seems it is always placed over the shoulder, and the main focus is on the character, who is in a continuous movement, which sometimes can be even a bit aggressive. In many moments, camera moves unexpected and chaotic, and sometimes the movement are so compulsive and so powerful that the viewer is basically immersed in the middle of the situation that the character lives. If we focus on the characters, and we want to analyze a bit how the characters are built, we can say that the film, we can observe that the film has a limited number of characters. The most of them remains anonymous. For example, the mother of Rosetta has no name. Until the end of the movie, we don't know her name, but that not means that the character is not powerful or not complex. In fact, the only characters who has names are Rosetta and her friend Riquet. And the others appears to only to be constructed, to be built around the protagonist. For the sound and music, if we analyze the movie from that perspective, we can observe that the music basically it's not almost at all present. We have only some small scenes where the music is present, but we don't have music, but we have noise, noises that suggest the everyday life of Rosetta. There are noises that surrounds Rosetta's life, such as the noise of the traffic, or the noise of the hair dryer, which becomes a symbolic object at one point. Also, the costumes and the objects used in the film are very simple, suggesting that Rosetta has a humble life. Her clothes, the boots especially, suggest this life she has, the struggles she has to face. And of course, there are also many details you will for sure observe when seeing the movie. It is important to pay attention to all those aspects related to the expressive means, as understanding those small details, it can make the difference, and it makes for sure the film more meaningful for your students. And I think the last two activities presented by Andreas are related to some aspects from expressive means.
Exactly. Thank you, Anna Maria. And as Irai told you before, the scope of the project, one of the main objectives of this project is to bring film literacy into our classrooms. So it is important to carry out activities that show our students how directors treat these expressive means as elements of meaning, and not just to use the film for its theme or its subject. So the last two activities have to do with trying to enhance our students' film literacy through activities that cope with the sound or the camera movements. The first one has to do with sound. As Anna Maria told you just before, the soundtrack of the movie is very limited. The only moment in which elements of a soundtrack appear are the scene where Rosetta is dancing with Ricky, and this is a song coming from the radio that they are listening to. This is a perfect way for our students to make a distinction between diegetic and incidental music. Diegetic music is the music that is part of the narrative. They are the sounds or the songs and the music that the actual characters of the movie listen to in a concert or through television or radio. Incidental music is the usual musical soundtrack that the Hollywood movies has with a musical score written directly for this movie or songs that express the characters' feelings. Rosetta is one of the rare examples of films that have no incidental music at all. And the only incident of a diegetic soundtrack in the film is this scene that we talked about. So it's a perfect way for our students to understand this distinction. And if we select several fragments from the film and present them to the students, we can ask them what kind of incidental or diegetic music they could have added if they were to direct the film. They can talk about music genres that they think that are suitable for this movie and why, or songs that they relate to the emotional challenges that Rosetta and the other characters go through throughout the whole movie, and give explanations for their choices, which is the crucial part. And of course, they can use the excerpt tool, the extract maker, the tool that Ira told you before that there is available for the platform users. And we can ask students to add the music or the songs on the fragments we have given them. And another activity has to do with the other elements of the mise-en-scène and the cinematic grammar. First of all, the teachers should give explanations about certain cinematic terms that are used in the kit or that are important to understand the way the Dardenne brothers have chosen to film the movie. Terms like still camera or handheld camera, which is the camera that the operator has on its shoulder, the long shots and the close-ups, and the difference that these two kind of shots have, and the jump cuts in the editing procedure. And so after the students are introduced to those terms, with the help of their smartphones, they can be simulated in a directing process. They can write a small plot and then record this short scene in 3 different ways: with a handheld camera with close-ups, with a fixed camera and long shots, and with a fixed camera and close-ups. It should be no more than 1 or 2 minutes. But this is enough for them to understand what kind of difference and what kind of different meanings convey the close-ups and the long shots and the fixed camera and the handheld camera to the spectators. It's very different to see the character in a close-up and in a long shot. The first one is more easy to convey the feelings and the emotional troubles that the characters go through, and the long shot is better for the setting and the understanding of the whole film localization. When they go back to the film now that they know both the terms and they have a small experience of directing a scene themselves, they are asked to select scenes from Rosetta and reshoot these scenes using variety of shot types as explored in the previous activity. I mean, they can reshoot a scene that has only close-ups and reshoot it with long shots, or vice versa, and then discuss the differences that these different versions have. I think we are done with the activities, and now we are open to questions.
All right. Thank you very much, colleagues. So I would like to start thanking to my colleagues on the call, Anna Maria, Andreas, and Emma for their amazing presentations. As Andreas just mentioned, this is now a very good time to ask any questions you might have. In the meantime, I would like to just mention again that we will have a series of 12 webinars, including this one, in the coming months, and we will also make them available on the platform. So if you miss one, you can always go back to them. I hope this presentation was inspiring for you to go try out some of these activities with your students. And also, as some of so Rosetta and all the other educational project webinars will also come paired with a masterclass. So for instance, for this one, there will be a masterclass taking place physically in Brussels with Luc Dardenne. I posted some more information on the masterclass that will take place on 16th of March in the chat. You can also obviously register for it and watch a stream of it live through Zoom. So feel free to do so. It's such a great opportunity to hear from the directors of the movie itself. And without further ado, if you have any questions, please let us know in the chat. And I will.
I can see a question.
I see a question.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I don't know if it is the same.
I think that it's from a Greek colleague,
Yeah.
Stella. I can see the if it is better to first show the film and then do the activities all the other way around. It depends on the activity, first of all. As you saw, Emma suggested an activity that there are a lot of prompts used in the film that have a symbolic meaning, such as the boots or the lake and the container with the gas container that has an important role at the end of the film. Actually, we suggest that you show your students these screenshots from the movie before they see the movie, and they make assumptions about the plot and what's the role of these objects in the movie. This is to prepare them for watching the film and understanding better the role that these objects play in the film. The other activities are watching the film, having watched the film beforehand, is a prerequisite for the activities to carry out the activities with the students in order for them to be meaningful. So it's a mix and match, but most of them suppose that your students have already watched the movie. I don't know if Emma or Anna Maria want to add anything to that.
No, you explained so well. Yeah, indeed, some of the movies, some of the activities suppose seeing the movie before, but for the others, it is advised to not see the movie before.
Anyway, anticipation is a way to activate interest in students. So if we let them free to anticipate what they are going to see, to watch, of course, they will be more interested in controlling, in verifying if what they anticipated was true or not. So it's also a way to spark curiosity.
I'll just jump in here. We have another question from another of our Greek audiences in the Q&A part. What is the target group of students which is ideal for watching this film and especially for doing the schedules, so the activities, if you want to address that as well?
For this movie, I think 15 plus is the target, but in fact the target is specified for each movie on the platform. But this is a movie that personally I would see with the high school students, 15, even 16 plus.
Brilliant. I also see that Stella noted that she's used it with 17-year-olds and it requires some maturity, and that's probably true. Colleagues, any other questions? Please feel free to drop it in chat and we can address. We have some more time.
Where we can find the kit and instructions, Barbara asks. In the platform, in the website, there are all the kits. They are divided in short movies and long movies. And Rosetta was one of the last one that was added. But other are coming because we are working on other movies that will be soon available on the platform, other kit.
Yeah, but as Andrea said, it's good to know that first you should register as teachers on the platform to have access to the films and the kits.
Exactly.
You open the profile and in a few seconds you are in.
I think that someone asked how could register and so on. There are some tutorials on the platform. I think you can find it, and the tutorials are also translated in the 9th or 8th languages. 9th now with the Croatian.
Yeah.
9, yes.
And I see a question from Angeliki. I think that the activities that you proposed may be adapted in every film. Many of them actually can be useful if you watch other films with your students as well. Others are movie specific. For example, the one with the music, the absence of soundtrack in the movie Rosetta cannot be used with other films because most of the other films have a lot of music or songs. For example, Billy Elliot has an extensive soundtrack with a lot of songs. But other ones, like the prompts, they can be adapted to fit other movies as well. Yeah, sure. But there are educational kits for every movie that there is on the platform. So you can find activities that are specifically suggested for the specific movie.
In all the languages. In all the languages.
I will answer one question from I believe Barbara. I'm hoping I'm saying it right. But so the upcoming webinars we will definitely touch upon other movies that we are adding to the project platform this project phase. So the other movies, for sure, there will be a similar webinar just like this one, discussing the kit content as well as the movie itself. And beyond that, there will be several experts discussions on various film education relevant topics. As these become more concrete, we will share information on them on the communication channels of European Film Factory, as well as the website. So there will be there's an agenda section there, so you can find them there.
Someone is asking about registering the students. Yes, you can register. The process may seem a bit complicated at the beginning, but it's not. I mean, students register, but they have to receive a code from you as a teacher. You should create a class. Irai, I think you are more entitled to explain.
Sure. I think the way you and Andreas mentioned is pretty much self-explanatory. So yes, first the teacher registers and then creates a class, and then invites students with this code, and then they can become part of your class. So that's the main logic. As mentioned before, there are some guides in the platform for how to do these things, and we are always available for helping you out in terms of technical difficulties. And beyond that, as I mentioned, the next webinars will be on using the platform. So there will be more details there for sure. So if you are interested in learning more about what features are included in the platform and how to make use of it in the best possible way, we suggest that you join the upcoming webinars on the platform presentation. So it should give more details there as well. Checking the time, we are right on schedule. I hope I'm checking the chat and the Q&A to see if we missed any other questions. I don't see anything new. So colleagues, once again, thank you very much. Also the teachers in the call who joined to listen to us today, thanks once again for joining this webinar. And I hope you found it very useful, and I hope you found it inspirational for your activities. I would like to thank you, and I would like to wish you a good evening and rest of the week.